Okay, so welcome again on this wonderful session of Bhagavad Gita, and we will continue from where we had left off last week. So, if I'm not wrong, we covered until Sloka number 49. So, we'll start with 50, and we'll try to see how many shlokas we can cover today. So, before we start, I would like to perform some pranam mantras. So, I would like all of you to listen very intently, as I recite them, because listening is also very, very purifying. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघते गिरि यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वर। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Okay. So Ivana Mataji, would you be able to read today?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Sorry Mataji, your voice is very feeble. Can you please speak up a bit? Somehow your voice is a little better. Let me check my volume. Just hold on. Okay, it's on the maximum.
Hello.
Yeah, it's much better now. Yes.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'll be able to read.
Sure. Thanks, Mataji. Sindhu Mataji, would you be able to read today?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, you will be able to read, right? Yes. Okay, no worries. Right. Let me share my screen. Okay, so we will start with Ivana Mataji. Mataji, please repeat after me. Okay, so before starting, just a quick recap that what we had seen in the previous verses. So one thing which we had seen in the previous verses that the Vedas are primarily filled up with the concepts of karma kanda. Okay, karma kanda are those things which we have to perform certain rituals, certain anushtans at our place according to our capabilities, basically, and they help us to get us elevated to the heavenly planetary systems. That means after quitting our bodies, we will go to the heavenly planetary systems. Okay, but that is not the ultimate goal of human life. Okay, ultimate goal of human life is to break this cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Okay, so yes, so in order to achieve this, or in order to attain this particular goal, we just need to perform devotional service or bhakti. We have to surrender into the lotus feet of Krishna and just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because this is what has been recommended in this age of Kali Yuga. And what Krishna says, like in the previous verses, we saw that even a small effort made in this direction, okay, made on the path of Krishna consciousness, will save us from the worst kind of fear. And what is the worst kind of fear? Worst kind of fear is to enter into the womb of a mother once again. Okay, so especially in the womb of a mother of a lower species of life. So if we practice Krishna consciousness even a little bit in our in this lifetime, basically, so we are saved with one, like big fear, which is to degrade into the lower species of life, like animals, birds, and insects. Okay, at least we will be getting a human form, and once again we will be getting a chance to realize our Krishna consciousness and complete that process and go back home, back to Krishna. Okay, so in this practice, in the practice of bhakti yoga or in the practice of Krishna consciousness, there is no loss in any way. Okay, whatever we do gets accumulated in our spiritual bank balance. So for example, if we practice Krishna consciousness to say up to 5% in this lifetime, then in the next lifetime we'll start with 6%. Okay, it is not the case with other material activities. For example, if I am a PhD in this particular life, once I quit my body, my all my material designation, material qualifications are gone. Okay, once I take another birth, I will have to start all over again, right from ABCD. Okay, so excuse me. This is the difference between Krishna consciousness activities, Krishna conscious activities, and normal material activities. Now we will move ahead with our with the verse number 50 of the second chapter. Just give me a second. Okay, Mataji, please repeat after me. Buddhi yukto jahatiha
बुद्धियुक्तो जहातिह
ubhe sukrita dushkrite
उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते
tasmadyogaya yujyasva
तस्माद्योग्य तस्माद्योग्य
yujyasva
युजस्व
yoga karmasu kaushalam.
योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Please read the translation. I'll tell you. Okay, and also the purport. Purport is small. Yeah.
A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Purport. Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Shri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action.
Yes. So we had also seen in the previous chapter, in the previous verses, that any action that we perform, okay, which is not Krishna conscious, that means which is not aimed at serving Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, okay, that incurs some reactions, whether good or bad. And even if we have good reactions, we will have to come back again here in this material world, maybe in the earth planetary system, to take birth again and enjoy the fruits of those good activities. Similarly, if we do something bad, then we will have to come here again and suffer for those bad reactions. Okay, so this chain of action and reaction, it goes on lifetime after lifetime, and every single one of us has been going through this since time immemorial. In one of the scriptures, it is said that it is easier to count the number of sand grains in the river Ganges, but it is not possible to count the number of life or number of births which a living entity has taken in this material world. Okay, so it is such a vicious cycle. Okay, so the only way to break this cycle is to dovetail all our activities in the service of Krishna, keeping Krishna at the center. We will perform all our day-to-day activities as we are doing it right now. Okay, for example, if we are cooking, we'll cook for Krishna. Okay, we cook for Krishna, offer those foodstuffs as bhoga to Krishna, and then accept them as prasadam. Okay, similarly, all the other activities can be dovetailed. It's just the matter of applying our brains and like dovetailing them in that way. Okay, so once we start doing that, we do not incur any reactions, neither good reaction nor bad reaction, and in that way we free ourselves from this action and reaction cycle. And once we quit our body, we go back home, back to Krishna. Okay, so this is what Krishna is also advising us, that okay, strive for yoga, strive for Krishna consciousness. Okay, and simply just by practicing devotional service, one can free oneself from this vicious cycle. Moving on to the next verse. Sindhu Mataji, would you like to read? Like, would you like to recite the verse along with me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Please repeat after me. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi We can't hear you, Mataji. You're on mute, Mataji. You're on mute.
Karma jambuddhi yukta hi
Phalam tyakatva manishinah
phalam tyaktva manishinah
janma bandha vinirmuktah
janma bandha vinirmuktah
padam gachanti namayam.
padam gachandanyāmayam.
Yes. Okay. Mataji, please read the translation. I'll tell you from where to read the purport.
By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries.
Yes. So please read from here, Mataji, for one, like this. And you can complete the purport, entire purport you can read.
For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet, the Lord who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mugunta or the giver of Mukti, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a thought's footprint. Parampadam or the place where there are no material miseries or Vaikunda is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. Out of ignorance, only less intelligent persons try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that the resultant actions will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within the universe can give life without miseries. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease, are present everywhere within the material world. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal savior of the Lord, and thus knows the position of the personality of Godhead, engages himself in the transcendent loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he become qualified to enter into the Vaikuntha planets where there is neither material miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's constitutional position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in the darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. he becomes a lord himself and thus paves the way for the repetition of birth and death. But
That would,
one who understanding.
yeah, that would be enough, Mataji. That would be enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, Prabhuji.
yes, very. Okay, so what we have seen here is that Krishna, what he's suggesting, he's also suggesting the same thing, that by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, the great sages or the devotees have freed themselves from the results of the work in the material world, and they become free from the cycle of birth and death, and they attain the state beyond all miseries. Okay, now this material world, okay, this has been described in the 8th chapter. We will see that this has been described by Krishna himself as Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Okay, Dukhalayam means a place of miseries. Okay, just like in a Pustakalaya we get books, in Bhojanalaya we get bhojan or food. Similarly, in Dukhalayam we'll get only misery, only dukh. Okay, and it is ashashvatam, it is ever changing. Okay, it is non-permanent. Okay, non-eternal. So owing to these two qualities, none of the living entities in this material world will be happy in any way. Okay, even if we feel that we are happy, we are living in an illusion. Okay, we are actually, struggling really hard. And in the 8th chapter itself, right, so there are basically the main miseries of life. There are 4 kinds of main miseries: janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. Okay, birth, death, old age, and disease. And none of us are free from this. Okay, and in the 8th chapter itself, Lord Krishna says, "A brahma bhuvanaloka punaravartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate." Okay, that means Uh, yeah, that means right from the lowermost planetary system in this material world to the topmost planetary system, the Brahmaloka, where Lord Brahma resides. Okay, all are places of miseries where repeated birth and death take place. Okay, even Lord Brahma is not free from it, although his lifespan may, seem to be very fantastic for all of us. Okay, because like he has a really long life. Okay, so but still a point comes where he also has to quit the body. Okay, so there is no freedom from this cycle of birth death. Lord Brahma also gets old. Okay, so old age is there, and obviously, like we have seen that other illnesses and all those things are also there in all the planetary systems. Okay, it happens, and this world is full of struggles only. Like simply, like I'll give you one very simple example. The other day, I was actually watching one documentary on the wildlife, basically, right? And I was seeing that how even the animals struggle so hard. Day in and day out, they have to be keep looking for the food. Okay, they also have young ones to feed. Okay, and on top of that, they also have to preserve themselves from the predators around. Okay, so that is a struggle for all the herbivore animals. Similarly, like those who are predators, like lion and tigers, okay, they also have their cubs to feed. Okay, and I was seeing that the success rate of the hunt of a lion is just 10%. That means the failure rate is 90%. 90 out of 100 times it actually fails to, make a catch, whenever it tries to prey on some other animal. Okay, so even from their point of view, if you see, right, like there may be weeks altogether where they have to go without food. They are literally starving. Their cubs are starving. Okay, so this is the kind of miseries that even the animals are going through. Okay, what to speak of humans? We not only go through the natural miseries, but we bring miseries artificially also on ourselves. Okay, just by our greed and what to say, pride and all those things. Okay, so this material world is just full of misery. So that's what Krishna is suggesting, that please just get out of this place by practicing devotional service. And once we start practicing devotional service, what happens? We simply do not incur any reaction to all the works or activities that we are performing, and we free ourselves from this cycle. Okay, so Krishna is also confirming that, and we will enter into one of the Vaikuntha planets, which are free from all material miseries. Okay, there is no birth, death, disease, old age over there. It is said that in Vaikuntha, especially in Golok Vrindavan, every foot, like every step is a dance, and every word is a song. Okay, so that is the kind of environment over there. Okay, so this is the summarization of this particular sloka. Very beautifully, Srila Prabhupada has explained in the purport itself. So we'll move on to the 52nd verse. I'll read it myself. yada te moha kalilam buddhir buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that has to be heard. Okay, so the purport says, so there is a very nice reference to one of the great acharyas of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Sri Madhavendra Puri. Okay, and that shloka Prabhupada has cited here. We'll read the translation of this shloka. Okay, on O my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, whenever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kansa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. So what it means is that the Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayer 3 times a day, taking bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in the revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood the purpose of the Vedas, that is to reach Krishna and simply engage in rituals, etc., then he is unnecessarily wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda Brahma or the range of Vedas and Upanishads. So, very important point is mentioned here. Okay, what Krishna is also saying here that once your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, that means this whole Maya Shakti of the Lord. Okay, we are all covered by her. Okay, and we are all illusion. We are all living in a conditioned state of life. Okay, but one who has passed all this, state of illusion and delusion, they will become indifferent to all that has been heard and that has to be heard. That means what Krishna is trying to say here is that a person who is transcendentally very advanced, okay, who is a very advanced devotee, all fixed up in Krishna consciousness, for them there is no duty of performing any rites, rituals, and other Vedic practices which have been mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, for sadhakas like us, yes, it's very important. Why? Because our minds are very, very disturbed. It is completely overpowered by Maya. Okay, so even for a moment, if we try to, um, give up, all these, what to say, the austerities that we are doing, like waking up early in the morning, bathing in the morning, and then, doing our japa, all these things which we do, the Panchatrika Vidhi, that means having an altar at our home and, like performing the Mangal Aarti and the Sandhya Aarti every day. If we don't do all these things, if we do not read the scriptures every day, then our mind is so what to say fallen that it will simply rush towards all the demoniac activities which are all around. Okay, so for us, it's very, very important to perform all these activities. But for a person who has transcended, who has, reached the point of self-realization, who has all the knowledge, then for them, I mean, it's no need to perform any such rituals or anything which has been mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, but then that person is a real Mahatma. I mean, it's like a distant goal for all of us. Basically, we all are struggling. Even to chant one round, we cannot do that properly. Our mind is so disturbed. So we simply cannot think of, like giving up all these activities. But yes, for people who are self-realized, for them, there is no need to perform any such Vedic rituals. They are not indebted to any other living entity or any other processes, basically. Okay, so they can simply, sit and meditate upon Krishna because they are continuously in samadhi. Okay, they are always thinking about the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. Okay, so for them, there are no activities, prescribed activities according to the Vedas. Okay, so this is what this particular shloka means. Hmm. But mind you, we should never ever try to copy those realized souls. Okay, not for a single moment we should think that okay, I have spent significant time in Krishna consciousness. Now I am a senior devotee. I'm an advanced devotee. No. Okay, our mind is the biggest cheat. Let me tell you. Like it will just trick us like anything. Okay, and we will simply fall down. So please be very careful. Please try to maintain your sadhana routine, which we have been following day in and day out. Do not miss your chanting under any circumstances whatsoever. Okay, that is the biggest point that I want to make here. Okay, never ever try to compare yourselves to any of the great acharyas of any sampradaya for that matter. Okay, it takes a lot of practice and lot of years behind that to reach that stage. Okay, sincere practice actually. So we are not at that stage. We are still sadhakas, and we will most probably remain sadhakas. We are completely dependent upon the mercy of our guru, mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and mercy of Lord Sri Krishna. We do not have the capability to get out of this mess all by ourselves. Okay. So okay, moving to the next sloka. Ivana Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please repeat after me. Shruti viprapati Shruti vipratipannate
Shruti Vipratipannate
yada sthayasyati nischala
Yada sthayasti Nishkala
samadhavachala buddhis
Samadhavachala Buddhis
tada yogamavapsyasi.
Tada Yogam Avapasi
Vapsyasi.
Avapsyasi.
When your mind is no longer okay, please read the translation. Sorry.
When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
Please read out the purport.
To say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one in full samadhi has realized Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. The highest perfection of self realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna and that one's only business is to discharge one's duty in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into the communion with Krishna, and thus all the directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yeah. So very nice shloka this is. Okay. So this is what Krishna is also saying, that when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, as we had seen in the earlier verses, that Vedas mainly like describe the karma kanda process. Okay. So they are kind of misleading at times, that okay, a person just gets involved in all those karma kandas just to target themselves, to attain the higher planetary systems, the Swargloka and other higher planetary systems. Okay. So what Krishna is saying here, that when you are not disturbed by such languages, okay, when you just know what is the ultimate goal of Vedas, right? Vedas to sarver aham eva vedyo, right? That means from all the Vedas, I am to be known. Krishna is saying this in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so once one understands that okay, the main goal of the Vedas is to understand Krishna, okay, and then he starts practicing Krishna consciousness, starts performing all his activities in Krishna consciousness, then what happens? Then they attain the divine consciousness. Okay, that's what Krishna is saying. Okay, so all the fruitive activities, as Srila Prabhupada is also mentioning here, is for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. Okay, in Krishna consciousness, one comes directly in communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. So, in that state, a devotee takes an order directly from Krishna or one of his bona fide representatives. And who is the bona fide representative of Krishna? It's our guru or the spiritual master. Okay? So all that we need to do is to just surrender unto Guru and Krishna and just carry out their orders, and rest everything will be taken care by Krishna himself. Okay, we should not get too much engaged into all the processes and karma kandas that have been mentioned in the Vedas. That is what Krishna is saying. Okay. Yes, Sindhu Mataji, would you like to read out, please? You can repeat after me.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का सॉरी अर्जुन उवाच स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा
Arjuna uvacha स्थितप्रवज्यस्य का भाषा
समाधिस्थस्य केशव
समाधिस्तस्य केशव
स्थितधिः किं प्रभाषेत
स्थितद्दिह किं प्रभाषेत
किमासीत व्रजेत किम्
किमासीत व्रजेत किम्.
Please read the translation, Mataji, and also the purport.
What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged
Merged in transcendence.
merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk? Purport. As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As the rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known as diseased, or as a learned man has his symptoms, so a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly, a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptoms of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below.
So Arjun is actually inquiring in this particular verse that, oh Krishna, a Krishna conscious person, like what, how can we identify the Krishna? What is the behavior of a Krishna conscious person? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? These kind of questions. So very nicely Prabhupada has explained here that just as a rich man has the symptoms by which he can be identified as a rich man, okay, just as a diseased person, by the symptoms we can tell that, okay, a person is suffering from certain disease. Similarly, a person who is in Krishna consciousness can be identified by the way he speaks and other what other activities that he carries out. Okay, so out of which Prabhupada is stressing a lot on the way a Krishna conscious person speaks. Okay, so because what he's saying that speech is the most important sense in all the human beings. Okay, through our speech only or the way we talk, one a person can be identified whether a person is a learned person or whether he or she is a fool. Okay, so until and unless a person is keeping quiet, it's very difficult for us to identify the intellectual level of that person. Okay, but as soon as they start speaking, it's very easy to make out, that whether a person is an intelligent or it's a fool. So Krishna will tell us, okay, that what are the symptoms. We'll see. So I'll read the verse number 55. This is an important verse, so I'll take some time in actually explaining this. Okay, but yeah, we'll see. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yatha Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogatan Atmanyevatmana tushta sthita pragyasta gochyate. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind is thus purified, finds satisfaction in self alone, and then he is said to be in the pure transcendental consciousness. The purport goes like this. The Bhagavatam affirms that a person who is fully Krishna conscious or devotional service of the Lord is fully in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas person who is not transcendentally situated has no good qualifications because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoctions. Very important thing. I'll explain. Okay. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by the mental concoction. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. Okay, it's very, very difficult to stop such sense desire. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without any extraneous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage themselves in Krishna consciousness without hesitation, for this devotional service will instantly help one to the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in self by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Lord, eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Thus, a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. Okay, so very important verse and very important thing which Krishna is teaching us here. Okay, and what is he saying here? That, O Partha, when a man gives up all the varieties of sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind is thus purified, finds satisfaction in self alone, and then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So, what Prabhupada is also saying here is that all kinds of sense desire, okay, they are actually manufactured by our own mental concoction. Okay, for example, very common example I'll try to cite. Okay, we are working day in and day out in our respective offices. Okay, and sometimes like we get some leaves or some vacations. Okay, we plan some vacations, and what happens after that? Immediately, as soon as we get some time, we just simply pack our bags along with our families. We are like enjoying some vacations, some Europe trip, Australia, US, wherever we want to go. Okay, and like this is what we are all doing. Okay, immediately, like weekend comes, we have to eat out. Okay, this is the unsaid rule today. Okay, like either lunch or dinner or sometimes even both. Okay, we are simply just eating out. Okay, and what are we doing for the whole day now that we are not cooking or anything? What are we doing whole day? Simply watching some movies or some web series on the OTT platforms. So all these things are nothing but our mental concoctions. Okay, why? Because we think that these activities will give us happiness. These activities will give us satisfaction. Okay, but time and again, like we have seen that these activities will never ever make us happy. Okay, today maybe suppose we are going on a vacation with our family, it may give us a little bit of joy. Okay, but at the same time it is also very tiring. Okay, and the traveling part is also sometimes very, very tedious, especially if you are having small kids with you. Okay, and at the same time, like it is not very satisfying. At the end of the day, again you will start hankering for something else, somewhere else, or someone else, like that. So the reason why this happens is because the spirit soul eternally, hankers for the association of Krishna himself. Okay, it does not hanker for anything else. Okay, just because we are covered by the illusory potency of Krishna, the Maya Shakti of Krishna. Therefore, what we are trying to do is we are trying to look for this happiness at the wrong places. Okay, we think that a nice family vacation will make us happy. We think that eating out will make us happy. We think that okay, watching some movies in a multiplex or on the OTT platforms will make us happy. Okay, but it's not that, right? I mean, it is never ever going to make us happy. The hankering will only increase, as the time passes, and we'll simply waste our times. Okay, just imagine one thing, that for example, if an employee goes to the office and straight away goes into the recreation room, okay, spends the entire day over there, and then come back home, okay, and he or she makes this routine each and every single day, what will happen? The organization or the company will tolerate this kind of a behavior only for maybe maximum 1 or 2 months. Okay, after that, employee will be fired. Okay, fired from the organization. Why? Because they are not doing the task that they have been hired for. Rather, they are doing all the unnecessary activities. See, recreation room is there in the office to enhance the productivity of the employee, that okay, they can take a break, they can recharge themselves for a while, and then they can come back and focus more on the task at hand and then complete it properly. Same is the case with us, okay, that we have been given this human form of life. Okay, we have been given, say, Krishna understood that okay, this fellow, he or she, like, they cannot live in the renounced order of life, they cannot become a sannyasi or a brahmachari, so they have given us a family, they have given us a nice home to stay, and so Krishna has given us a nice family, Krishna has given us a nice home to stay and everything, right? So these are just the facilities, but our actual task is self-realization, is to understand who we are, who is Krishna, what is our relationship with Krishna. And once we understand that relationship, we should try to, work accordingly so that we are able to please Krishna and break this cycle of life, death, and rebirth and go back home, back to Krishna. Okay. But instead of that, if we are simply engaging in, going to different vacations or going to multiplexes or eating out, what will happen? Just like that employee is getting fired for just going into the recreation room, we are simply doing the recreation, we are not doing the exact job that we have been assigned to. Correct? So it's very important to understand that I'm not saying that you should not go to the vacation with your family, you should not eat out, you should not like watch TV at all, completely give it up. Maybe over a due course of time, as Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in this purport, that automatically you will lose taste for all these activities. Okay, but initially we have to exercise some control. We simply cannot live according to our mental concoctions or according to our whims and fancies. Okay, we have to. And when we were growing up as kids, like, our parents used to exercise a lot of control. Okay, eating out was not common in those days. Only when there was a very, very special occasion, we used to go out with our families, to a restaurant and eat out there, right? uh, Same was the case with the vacations also. Okay, so meeting our grandparents during the vacations was the prime, what to say, focus. Apart from that, yes, if we used to get some time, maybe we used to visit a few places here and there. Okay, how many of the people today who they're simply planning vacations, all the international trips they are planning. Okay, but how many of them actually plan that? Okay, let's go to Vrindavan this time. Let's go to Jagannath Puri this time. Let's go to Mayapur Dham this time. Let's go to Ujjain this time. Okay, very few people, right? So those things are basically, we have to keep in mind that we have to exercise certain amount of control. Okay, it's not that you just give up everything. No one is asking you to give up everything. At ISKCON, we do not encourage to do that. What we are simply asking is that, okay, modify your lifestyle in such a way that at least find some time from your schedule for these devotional services or Krishna conscious activities. Okay, maybe if you are going on a trip, say, on a family vacation, maybe twice a year. Okay, one trip you can plan to some dham or some very nice, maybe Mayapur dham or Vrindavan or Jagannath Puri or somewhere. Okay, if we are eating out every day, like every weekend, it's a, why to eat out every weekend? Okay, fine, you can eat out maybe twice a month or maybe thrice a month. Rest all of the days you just stay at home, prepare some nice bhogas for Krishna, offer it to Krishna, and accept that as prasadam. Right? The amount of benefit which it is going to give to you is immense. I mean, it cannot be described in words. Right? We do not understand it at this stage because we are completely illusioned. But at the time of quitting our bodies, these are the things which will matter at the end of the day. Okay? I mean, 24 hours, like, we are completely focusing on our family activities, we are completely focusing on our office activities. How many of us simply think of chanting one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Okay, it hardly takes 7.5 minutes to do that. Krishna, who has given us everything in life, okay, who has given us nice family, nice home, all the luxuries of life, Can't we even find 7.5 minutes for him to just, sit at one place and chant, right? So all those people who don't believe in this power of chanting, I can, guarantee them at this point of time that to just practice this chanting for 1 week. Okay, sit at one place, try to concentrate on the sound vibration, and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You will start seeing the changes in yourselves, just like that. Okay, no one will force you to, stop any material engagements, but you will see that you will start losing taste in all of them, slowly but surely. Okay? So this is the what to say, the sum and substance of this verse, basically. Okay, and Krishna is also saying that we should try to give up all the material engagements which are coming out of our own mental concoctions. Okay, whatever we are doing are according to our own whims and fantasies is our mental concoction and nothing more than. Okay? So yeah, we will move on. Yes, Ivana Mataji, would you like to read? Okay, I think Ivana Mataji has left. Okay, I will read it out. And maybe I think this will be the last verse for today. It's good that we have covered around 7 verses or 6 verses. Okay. Dukheshva anudvigmanaha Dukheshva anudvigna manaha Sukheshu vigata spriha Vitaraga bhaya krodha sthita dhira muniruchyate. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment of fear, anger, is called a sage with steady mind, sage of steady mind. Yeah, important. Okay. The Muni, word Muni means one. The word Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every Muni has a different angle of vision, and until a Muni differs from other Munis, he cannot be called a Muni in the strict sense of the term. Okay? Nasav rishiru yasya matam na bhinnam. But Sthita Dhir Muni is mentioned herein by the Lord is different from an ordinary Muni. Sthita Dhir Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. He is called Prashanta Nishesha Mano Rathantara, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations and has come to a conclusion that Lord Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He is called a Muni fixed in mind. Such fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all the miseries as mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy for more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he thinks that these miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the Lord's grace, and he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. Okay, and for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Okay, so this is a very nice purport which Prabhupada has explained, and it gives the meaning of the term Muni. Okay, and who is the Sthita Dhir Muni? Okay, that who is not disturbed even amidst threefold miseries or elated in happiness. So threefold miseries are basically 3 types of kleshas. Okay, or miseries, 3 types are there which have been mentioned in our scriptures. One is the Adi Devik Klesha, other is the Adi Bhautik Klesha, and third one is the Adhyatmik Klesha. Okay, so Adhyatmik Klesha is basically the miseries which arise due to mind, our own mind. Okay, or maybe some inherited disease or something, maybe blindness or loss of a limb, or when we tend to overthink. Okay, we tend to go in depression. Okay, so all these things are Adhyatmik Klesha. okay, by oneself or by one's mind. Adi Devi Klesha means the miseries which are caused by natural disasters. Okay, for example, tornadoes or tsunamis or earthquakes or maybe whatever natural disasters that you can think of, which is beyond our control, basically. Okay, those are known as Adi Devi Klesha. And Adi Bhautik Klesha means that the miseries which are caused by other living entities. Okay, for example, mosquitoes, snakes, or even the enemies. Maybe we pick up fight from with somebody, and they beat us up, right? So that is a kind of adi bhautik klesha. Okay, so these are threefold miseries of life, and what Krishna is saying, that one who is not disturbed by these threefold miseries. Okay, if a devotee is suffering, so the devotee thinks that, okay, it is all happening because of their own past misdeeds. Actually, they are worthy of more suffering, but because of Krishna's mercy, this suffering has been minimized. Okay, this kind of a thought process a Sthita Dhir Muni has. Okay, who are not disturbed by the threefold misery. Similarly, when there is a lot of happiness, they are not ecstatic. They do not lose control. They do not lose focus. Basically, okay, they are very well aware of the realities of life, and they are simply like thanking Krishna for whatever happiness they are getting. They are saying that they are not worthy of that happiness. It's just because of Krishna's causeless mercy that they are getting such kind of happiness, so that they can perform the devotional services very nicely. Okay, so this is the nature of a Sthita Dhir Muni, and such people are called sages with steady mind. That is what Krishna is saying in this particular shloka. Okay. So, what we have seen, what are the qualities of the individuals who are in Krishna consciousness? Okay. So, to repeat, so there are two things which we have seen here. One is one who gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction. Okay. This I think I have explained in pretty much detail. That is the one symptom of a person in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Second, they are sthita dhir munis. That means they are not disturbed even amidst threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness. Okay, happiness and distress, they are just treating them equally. They are indifferent towards them. Their only goal is to serve Krishna very nicely. Okay, such people are known as sthita dhir muni, and that is another symptom of a person in Krishna consciousness. Okay, we will see further in the next class. If you have any questions or queries, any realizations, you can ask now. Sindhu Mataji, Yashwini Mataji, anyone? Okay, if not, then we will end this session and we will meet again next week. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.